The Weather Xtreme video, the afternoon edition for Wednesday, June 15th. I'm James Spann. Looks like another batch of storms could be passing through here tonight. And then for the weekend, a really refreshing weather change coming up. So kind of a complex forecast in the short term. Let's go in there and check things out. This is the water vapor satellite view. The little weakness, upper trough still hanging around. Had a nice batch of storms through parts of central and west Alabama this morning, but that was the radar at 2:21. And things are fairly quiet, still raining around Montgomery, over toward Tallahassee and Tuskegee. The northern part of the state is dry, and the morning rain has stabilized things. In fact, temperatures are only in the 70s in many spots. Birmingham at 78, upper 70s for Tuscaloosa and Anniston. But 80s up north, Huntsville 85. And we're watching a batch of storms north of the state we might deal with tonight. And the 90s will come back tomorrow and Friday. In fact, you can see it's awfully hot west of the state. You got temperatures approaching 100 over parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. And in that zone, we have heat advisories in effect. Some of the cities involved in that would be Dallas, Fort Worth, Little Rock, Shreveport, Kansas City. And it looks like there is an excessive heat warning for areas in North Oklahoma. Off in the desert southwest, that's an excessive heat watch, including Phoenix. They might make a run at 120 here in a few days. In the north of the state, check this out. This is a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 o'clock tonight. This includes much of middle and western Tennessee and the western half of Kentucky. A batch of strong storms crossing down into northern Tennessee, and those could make it down into North Alabama tonight. Wouldn't be shocked if that happens at all, since the air mass up in the Tennessee Valley has really not been touched today. And accordingly, the guys at the SPC, they have extended the severe weather risk down into North Alabama for tonight. The standard slight risk includes the far northwestern part of the state, Florence, Muscle Shoals, Athens. A marginal risk tonight down to Tuscaloosa, Clanton, and Anniston. The areas in darker green. Storms will probably start to run out of gas after about 9 or 10 o'clock. They'll begin to weaken as the air where we are is more stable. But always you have to watch these systems rolling in from the north in summertime. Tomorrow, a marginal risk for a pretty good chunk of the state. There's that little strip with no risk. But basically any storm tomorrow could produce maybe a wet microburst. And I think a lot's going to depend on the daytime heating process. Now, the models have backed off on the heat. For a while, the models were printing upper 90s, but now we're printing low and mid 90s. But still, the air will be fairly unstable, so any storms that do form tomorrow could be pretty strong. But I do think the storms will be much more scattered in nature. The rain will not be as widespread as what we've seen yesterday and today. And then on day 3, which is Friday, a marginal risk of severe weather for basically areas along and south of Interstate 20. That's in advance of a surface boundary, and anytime surface fronts drift in here in June, those could kick up some big storms. We should reach the mid-90s Friday afternoon. So, again, tomorrow and Friday, the storm's pretty scattered in nature, but where they do form, they could be fairly strong. This is the rain for the next 5 days, valid through Monday morning of next week. 1 inch for the north, 2 inches for the south. But after Friday, we'll be dry for a while. All right, model fans, here we go. The GFS, this is the 12Z run, valid tomorrow at 1 o'clock local time. Troughing in the northwest and the northeast, ridging in between. We'll start with the HRRR. This is tonight at 7 o'clock, and you can see that batch of storms coming down into the Tennessee Valley, and those could be pretty strong as they drop down into Huntsville and Athens and Decatur, maybe producing strong winds, so just be aware of that. But again, I think they weaken by the time they reach Birmingham. In fact, this is midnight tonight, kind of showing a dying batch of showers coming through. Now, tomorrow, again, we'll mention a few scattered showers and storms, but a decent part of the day should be dry, and the heat levels crank up. We'll say highs between 92 and 95 with a mix of sun and clouds, and where the storms form, they'll pack a punch. And the same thing on Friday, low to mid-90s. Some sun and the chance of a few scattered storms around, and where the storms happen to form, they will be strong. Then for the weekend on Saturday, a refreshing air mass. Dew points come down. The humidity comes down. The high will be in the Upper 80s, and Sunday looking good. We'll be well down in the 60s Sunday morning. Some of the cooler pockets could see 50s. High Sunday afternoon, mid-80s. The GFS showing 86, so a really delightful weekend coming up. Look at the precipitable water. That's amazingly low for summertime. You rarely see that around here. Go to Monday of next week, still looks dry. In fact, the GFS still has us in the 80s on Monday, if this is right. And even Tuesday looks rain-free. You know, it's hard to say there's no chance of rain in summer. At some point, we all know the humidity comes back and the chance of afternoon storms. But again, at this point, Tuesday looks pretty dry with low 90s. And a week from today, Wednesday, June 22nd, nasty 597 heat ring back in the Four Corners in the Southwest U.S., troughing north of us. And again, that looks pretty quiet. Lots of sun, maybe a slight chance of a shower, highs in the low to mid-90s. This is the end of the forecast period, Saturday, June 25th. The heat ridge to the west tries to nose in here, but there's troughing north of us, and again, that looks relatively quiet. Check the numbers off the European. It's got 91 on Saturday. I think we'll see upper 80s. Weekend looks really nice, and I think we'll be in the 60s during the morning hours Saturday and Sunday. And then next week, upper 80s, maybe low to mid-90s, but nothing too extreme. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes in the blog. The next video here by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. If you can't catch us this evening on the live stream or the television side, ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless.